Last episode we concluded season number 1 at Chelsea and cemented Champions League football, but Giroud was retiring. We already have Tammy Abraham. I needed a striker, and that's why I've gone out and got Alvaro Morata. Okay, no, I haven't actually got him. It would have been funny though, wouldn't it? To be fair, it does abide by Todd's philosophy to sign high-rep players, but I need to stop doing this, don't I? I need to make proper signings. And to be fair, we have the money to do some proper signings. £115 million in the transfer budget, plenty of surplus wage budget, money to burn, players to sell, perhaps most importantly. The first team is looking on the larger side. Today's going to be busy. Let's run the intro and get right into things, shall we? Yes, folks, how is it going? Welcome back to Chelsea. Today is episode number 8 of our FM24 Early Access Let's Play. I've said early access, not beta. Sports Interactive have been really funny about the fact the game shouldn't be referred to as a beta. I do want to point out, in the bottom left corner, it literally says, this is a beta version, in massive text. You're not fooling anyone. As I already mentioned, Giroud is retiring at the end of the year. He announced he intended to last episode. I tried to talk him out of it, unsuccessfully. I love the fact he's on international duty with France. He is playing in the European Football Championships, and once this competition is all concluded, that's when he's going to retire. Are France still in it? France are still in it. They're playing England, probably today. So Giroud's departing. A couple of other players I've already agreed the departures of include Kovacic, who's actually already left the club. We've sold him to Aston Villa. Didn't get that much money for him in the end, £16 million, but he was kicking up a stink. He was mega unhappy. I have too many centre mids. I wanted to get rid of him. So, Villa, you're welcome. And one more player that we have agreed the departure of, albeit he's not been kicked out the door yet, is Ruben Loftus-Cheek. We were trying to sell him in January. Again, a player who I just couldn't find a spot for in the first team last year. Mega injury prone, was running down his contract. We've got £12 million for him. In spite of that, though, our first team is still looking a little on the bloated side. In fact, with players coming back from loan and me promoting some of those youth players out on loan, our current first team does sit at 28 players. And when you sort it by younger players, there are players like Victor Roque, Guller and Colwell who were in the team last year. Players like Andre Santos have come back from loan. Cassidy, I think I need to sell. Similar story with Fofana. These guys probably will be great young players, just not sure they're quite of the standard for us. On the opposite side of things, I am a little bit conscious of the fact that last year we just hemorrhaged money throughout the entire season, and maybe just scaling back the wage budget would be wise. With that in mind, Raheem Sterling, aged 29 on £350,000, doesn't have any interest in for him yet. If someone wants to bid over £100 million though, I probably will let him go. So PSG, if you're out there, Saudi clubs, if you're out there, come to the table, we'll talk. I have also just blocked out a preliminary starting 11 and bench if the season was to start tomorrow, and this might seem bizarre, I'm actually just quite happy with the team that we've got, in spite of the fact we scraped 4th. Wesley Fofana, of course, back from that long-term injury, missed the entirety of last season. He's basically a new signing for us at centre-back. Hopefully he doesn't force a move. Hopefully he doesn't have any more injury issues. If he stays fit, I imagine he will be our starting centre-back alongside Joe Gomez. I really recently had the revelation that, in spite of the fact we've been playing Casado as a defensive midfielder, his physicals are immense, his technicals are really good, and actually, he could be quite a good Segundo Volante. So I think for this coming year, we might try him out here. And if I do make that change, it means that Fernandes can play a more defensive role and potentially even play as a deep line playmaker on defend. I feel like Fernandes here is a weird player who I didn't really have a spot for in the team last year. We played him at Segundo Volante, didn't really shine there. I do think maybe if he plays the defensive midfielder role, albeit as a playmaker rather than a defensive mid, and Casado is given that permission to go forward, that might be a way to get them both in the team. The only downside with all of that is Mason Mount, who last year flourished as the Segundo Volante and got 10 goals and 15 assists, he might find himself in the centre attacking mid position. The season has also already officially ticked over. You might have spotted it in the top corner. We're coming back in July as a result of the European Football Championships going on, and also the fact that many of the transfer windows around Europe and the rest of the world have been closed. There's not been a great deal of wheeling and dealing going on just yet. Heading into this season, our media prediction is 4th. You can see here we are ranked behind Man City, Liverpool and Arsenal, which incidentally is the order in which the top 4 in the Premier League finished last year, so a little bit interesting there. Of course, our board aim for this year is to get Champions League football and hopefully be best of the rest. Yeah, displacing Man City is going to be tough. Don't know if we're going to be able to challenge them too much this coming year, but with the young squad that we have, I feel like this year is about building for the future, kicking out some of the older players, maybe just trying to add 1 or 2 bits of real quality. So I was just looking at selling Cassidy. There is one Saudi team interested. Apparently they need to generate the funds before making an offer. Can they not just ask the government? And Fofana is another player who I mentioned I might want to sell. Let's ask the agent, what's Cracker lacking? Apparently, teams interested, might not be able to afford him, might not be first choice right now. Of course, it is still early days in the transfer window. Another man who has been attracting a fair bit of interest is Kai Havertz. I've actually already agreed with him that if a bid of 80 million comes in, I will consider selling him. He's got 4 years left on his current deal, signed for £71 million. Last year, he featured in 23 league games, only 8 as a starter. I think if the right offer came in, we would move him on. And when I showed this lineup earlier, you might have spotted on the bench, a player has snuck into the fray. That's right, Max Addons has joined us from Norwich. Of course, we agreed to sign him last year, see him as the successor to Aspilicueta. Gusto, who is our second choice right back for the season just gone, is not as good. Really, I feel like Gusto, I might also want to try and sell on. With one hit of continued, the transfer window has opened. Loftus-Cheek has left the building. Not overly happy with the £11 million. I'm sure he's delighted. He's earning almost £500,000 a week. Now, one minor problem I've got is the first team is already on the larger side. I promised Amari Hutchinson using the new target feature that if he got a 7.0 rating in first team matches, I'd make him a first team regular this year. He got a 7.03. The bugger just scraped it. As a result of that, he now expects to be playing in the senior team more. I'll promote him to the senior team for now. Might look to loan him out again. There's been some players released by Premier League clubs. Diego Costa is available as a free agent. He's retiring at the end of the year. I couldn't do it even if I wanted to. That's probably for the best. I mean, Martial's available. No, we're not that desperate. Let's not be ridiculous. I'm kind of reviewing the squad here by position. I look at our defenders. I don't think the defence is going to be a focus this year. I think of all the defensive moves I need to do right now, renewing Ben Chilwell's contract is probably a priority. He's entering the final year of his contract. He's currently on, how much is he currently on? £190,000 a week. How much is he going to want to stay on? 245. That's a lot. Benny boy, can we do 200? And I'll give you and your agent a bit more money. How does that sound? 200, Ben, just do 200. Be reasonable, mate. We're not made of money. You saw the finances at the end of last episode. Look, I'm going to negotiate 200 and you're going to like it. Thank you. 4-year deal. If he signs that, suddenly our entire defence is now contracted for the next 3 years. I won't ever have to touch it again. In spite of the fact that Kovacic and Loftus-Cheek have left us in the last week, this is our centre mid setup in terms of players who can play centre mid, centre attacking mid and centre defensive mid. Obviously, between Santos, Hutchinson and Cassidy, we've got some potential for the future. I still really feel like I need to move on Cassidy. I feel like Santos is a man I need to give some first-team football to. He was playing in the Championship for the second half of the season. I feel like he is now good enough to play a squad role for us in the Premier League. Have just spotted as well here, Amari Hutchinson entering the last year of his contract. Probably should renew that. I love the fact that I'm being told he's a good League One player. Just put up a 7.0 rating in the Championship. I think he's good enough to play at that level for another season. Speaking of which, we will offer him out for loan whilst we're here and hope that someone wants him for another season. Of course, there is a little bit of an overlap between the more central midfielders and the attacking midfielders we have at centre attacking mid and in the wider areas. I feel like I am going to have to make some tough decisions. Already talked about the fact I'm looking to move on Datro Fofana. I am looking at Hudson-Odoi thinking could be worth cashing in on him. Of course, we renewed his contract, so we weren't going to lose him on a free transfer this summer. He did just spend the season on loan with Leicester, where he did get promotion from the Championship with them. Everton might be interested, but they need to generate funds. I feel like we are waiting. You know, like when you move house and you have to wait for the housing chain to kind of move along for everything to happen. I feel like we're kind of waiting for that with a lot of interest in our players right now. Talked about all the other positions. Attacking-wise, we have Nkunku, we have Fate, we have Victor Roque and Tammy Abraham. I do feel like Kai Havertz we will be moving on. Datro Fofana we're looking to move on as well. Naturally, we have got the issue of where are we going to get our 25 goals from that we lost with Giroud last year. I'd like to think that Victor Roque Ake can step up. I'd like to think that the likes of Havertz, if he's still around, could play at striker. None of the players here, I guess excluding Nkunku, are players that I look at and think, you're a 25-goal-a-season striker for us. I feel like we need someone with a similar aerial presence. Putting all my eggs in the Tammy Abraham basket doesn't seem wise. Realise I haven't talked about goalkeepers yet. We have Dean Henderson, we have Bazunu. Not sure if I should be persisting with them for another year, but this might sound mental. Don't think it's a priority right now to think about this. So Luton have made an offer to loan Amari Hutchinson. Kind of makes sense. Of course, Luton, we tried to do a solid with, didn't we, by giving them some money last year. In spite of that all, they did get relegated, finishing rock bottom. They've got a load of money in the bank. I'm hoping they're going to spend some of it big. But the least I can do to help them in their quest to get promoted is give them Amari. They're promising him regular first-team football. Sounds good to me. One player who has just joined us is Laurent. We agreed to sign him last year, you might remember. 18 years old, loads of potential for the future. Looks pretty solid right now. He's just going to be chilling in the reserves for the next few years. We will teach him English, though. I'll give him lessons personally. My Portuguese is good. Broja's a player I've not mentioned. I'm trying to sell him. No one wants to buy him. I keep getting loan offers. I just want him gone permanently. What happens if this transfer special is just me unsuccessfully selling players and we just end with the exact same squad we started with? It'd be awkward. That's not going to happen. I've had an offer for Ben Chilwell here of 13 million and then a bit more money per league appearance. No, he's about to sign a new deal, PSG. Get the memo. Oh, we have had an offer for Gusto. It's one of the Saudi teams that's come in. They've offered 16 million. It's 8 million up front, then another 8 million in the future. I need more money than that for Gusto. How about I'll do you a deal? 25 million, but profit of next sale, I want 50%. They've bid 19. I mean, the reality is I've already signed Max Aarons for £20 million, who is the replacement. So if I'm selling Gusto for a similar amount of money for a player who's not quite as good, and I need to just get rid of him anyway, probably not the worst deal in the world. I have no doubt I maybe could get more money for him, but he's also on £100,000 a week, which is going to make him difficult to shift on with his current ability. So I think I've just got to take that bid. This has just popped up in my inbox. Mourinho takes Newcastle hot seat. Yeah, Mourinho, manager of Newcastle. Don't know if I should be scared or not. PSG have made a bid for Cucurella. They've offered me £26 million. It's not a terrible offer. I just feel like he's worth more than 26 million. He's got 4 years left on his current deal. He is our backup left back to Chilwell. If I was to let him go, my next left back options would be Colwill, and then probably would be Max Aarons playing left back, which I don't know. I don't feel like selling him for 27 million makes much sense. Of all the positions where I need to sell players, defence is not the position. Cucurella is unhappy luck, mate. They did not put in an acceptable bid. If they bid 40 million, I'll consider it. He doesn't like that. 39 million, and then I'd probably sell you as my backup left back. But I do feel like fullbacks don't grow on trees, and he's actually pretty good as a backup left back. He played 15 games for us last year, wasn't outstanding. Equally, didn't really put a foot wrong. Okay, Gusto confirmed to be leaving the club, £19 million, saving a lot of wages. That is always nice. And elsewhere, Chilwell has now committed his long-term future to the club, signed that new deal. It's a lot of money. He is just too good not to renew, though. We're only paying him £10,000 more a week, so I'm happy, he's happy, everyone's happy. I am conscious of the fact it's the 10th of July. I've not actually looked to sign anyone yet, and I've mentioned the Giroud-sized hole. That is an issue that I do need to resolve. In terms of players transfer listed who are available, I mean, Calvert-Lewin is at the top of this list. Calvert-Lewin, if he stays fit, is just immense in Football Manager. Played 23 games last year for Everton, scored 13 goals, but he did also break his foot during the season and miss 3 months. And for £35 million, I just don't think he's worth the risk. Harvey Elliott is transfer listed by request at Liverpool. He's not really the player that I need, and yet I'm tempted. The price tag, though, 77 million is a little dear. Is there anyone with their contract expiring at the end of this coming season who's particularly good, who I should be going for? Besides Kante. I mean, Son is available. Would Son be a striking solution? Not sure what I need right now. Morata's popped up on the list again. Jack, ignore him. Pretend he's not there. Jonathan David, potentially running down his contract at Lille. I'll be honest, I thought he'd be way better than he is in Football Manager. I feel like Jonathan David is criminally underrated in Football Manager. Alex Scott might be running down his contract at Bristol City. No one has signed him in this universe, which blows my mind. Of course, in real life, he did get picked up by Bournemouth. In this universe, he's just spent the last year tearing it up in the Championship. We'll use the term tearing it up loosely. Although Bristol City did get promoted, I'm going to make a bid here. I feel like he's a top English talent. If I can get him for a good fee, I'd be happy. They've asked for 120 million. That valuation, slightly out of date. If I bid on him in April, maybe I would have got him that cheap. His agent reckons 48 to 75 million. He's in the last year of his contract. We'll keep an eye on him. Harry Maguire's available. No, let's not be ridiculous. Jack, we need to stick to the assignment. Why are we going bargain hunting when we've got 127 million pounds? Who is the best striker money can buy right now who is actually interested in joining me? We could pick up a Makoko, an Inaki Williams, a Harry Kane. A Harry Kane from Saudi Arabia. Not sure I can afford to pay him £2 million a week, mind you. Evan Ferguson is listed. Evan Ferguson is mad this year in Football Manager. He is so good. Only 19 years old. Bags of potential. He might be the one, you know. He has the Giroud energy about him. His agent reckons it'll cost me 57 to 85 million pounds. I need to see the scout report come in, but to be honest, I'm more than willing to get the ball rolling on this early. I'm going to offer them 20 million pounds up front, and then over the next 3 years, I'll offer an additional 30 million to make it a 50 million pound bid. I don't think they're going to accept that, actually, are they? You know what? How about this? You want 57 million, I'll give you 60 million, but spread out over a number of years. Knew that wasn't going to fly with them. Some of you are wondering, is he actually worth what I'm considering bidding here? And I'm questioning that myself, but what I will say is he is actually phenomenal in the game this year. It's going to cost us over 80 million pounds. I might be about to spend all my transfer budget on a 19-year-old wonder kid. Apparently 82 million wasn't acceptable and now they don't want to talk to me anymore. I'll bid 85. We'll lock that in. How did he do last year? Last year in the Premier League, he only got 9 goals, but I feel like they just weren't using him properly. I feel like I'm the man to make the most of him. Between Bazunu and Ferguson, the next generation of Irish football is really relying on me to develop their talents, isn't it? I feel like I need to let Chukwuemeka go. He's on £100,000 a week in our reserves. There's a team in Saudi Arabia interested, of course there is. Intermediary, can you get me any bids? You want 8% commission? Have a day off. I'll sell him myself. We'll try and get 20 million. According to what I saw there, we might be lucky to get 10. I'm going to transfer list him as well. Why not? No one's bidding on Broja still. I'm going to lower my asking price to 18 million pounds. I nearly sold him on deadline day, last transfer window, and then he turned down Leipzig. Where are Leipzig? I need them to bid on him. Leicester have made an offer for Broja. They've offered me 16 million pounds potentially, 20% sell on. It's 11 million up front. I need to sell him. I'm just going to let him go. Elsewhere, Bayern Munich have made a bid for Mason Mount. He played great for me last year. How much are they bidding? 55 million. Am I right to feel insulted by that? 55 million for Mason Mount, 25 years old, 10 goals in the Premier League last year from centre mid. He isn't interested in talking to Bayern. I'm going to reject it. Go away. As is always the case in these transfer specials, there's players like Akamir here who have loan offers. Don't include it in the edit. Trust me when I say I am selling on some of our crap youngsters and loaning out other ones. It's just not particularly good video content. Colwill wants a new contract. How much are we talking here, mate? How much? I'll tell him that we can't afford it. It's not true. I'm just going to ask his agent. We're interested in renewing his contract. 75,000 to 93,000. I think I can give him that. He wants to be an important player though. Oh, don't do that to me. Why are you upsetting me like this? Regular player? He really wants to be an important first team player. He wants £88,000 a week. He's currently on £43,000 for the next 4 years. You know what? He's going to be really pissed off I do this, and I shouldn't have even entered the contract negotiations. I'm going to walk away. I don't need to give him a new deal right now. I am really considering selling Mudryk. I know you look at him and think, he's young, he's got potential. He is 23 years old. He's on £150,000 a week, and he could be worth 60 million. I'm going to tell his agent we're desperate to sell him. I can sense your desperation, but he doesn't have any interest. Yeah, that doesn't really surprise me. I can't see anyone wanting to pay anywhere near his current wages and his current value. The £85 million bid that we put in for Evan Ferguson has been accepted. Here is his scout report. Crazy potential, super consistent, great individual personality. He's determined. He's going to work hard. He's going to fulfill his potential. I need him. Wants to be a squad player, then become a regular starter, then important first team player. You know what? That is actually quite good. Because what I can do year one is really rotate him with Tammy Abraham and see who stands out. Don't love the way he's structuring all these extra increases in his wages. Can I just pay you 130,000 now and we get rid of this other stuff? That would make me most happy. 160. Why are you like this? 135. He really wants 160. 145. 145. 145. 5-year deal? I mean, it's not cheap at 85 million. I think he's worth it. He is going to be a good successor to Giroud. He's basically Giroud if Giroud had legs. And if he could jump a bit taller, that would be useful too. We'll get him a pogo stick for Christmas. It'll be fine. More offers for Broja here. Leicester have offered 18 million. Atalanta have offered a similar amount. I'm going to accept both those. Chukwuemeka's got some interest, but no one wants to pay the current valuation. He could be an amazing player in the future, but I need good players now, and he's nowhere near the first team. Gonna just offer him out for an unspecified amount. See who maybe bids on him at that price. I say at that price, of course, naturally, the price you set is unspecified. We'll see what teams are willing to pay. That's what I mean. Bayern have made another bid for Mason Mount. They've offered me this time £70 million that could rise by a couple million more if he plays more games. How about this? If you want to buy Mason Mount off me, I want 130 million. Okay, in hindsight, that was rather ambitious, but he's just not for sale. Everton have made a bid for Hudson-Odoi. Apparently has no interest, mate. Go to Everton, please. Look, I know you're not sure. You're not in my plans. It's your best option. I'm going to convince him. I really think they're a great match. He's not convinced. He's 100% turning them down. I want to negotiate this back. I'm scared that even if I nudge it up slightly, they're not going to be happy and just pull away. A lot, 22.5. 22.5 million for Hudson-Odoi. You know what? I think that's a robbery, especially with his current contract. With a lot of the players I'm selling, I could hold out for more money, but the risk is, if I hold out too long, the bids may never arrive. I might not be able to offload them. And right now, it's not like I need them desperately to leave in order to generate funds. It's literally about balancing the squad right now because it's just stupidly big. Okay, first signing of the transfer window, Evan Ferguson, £85 million. I'm going to confirm this. I'm going to get him signed right away. I think he is pretty much the ideal player that we were looking for. Someone who I can balance the minutes with Tammy Abraham. I just have to hope that between him and Tammy Abraham, they added together equal as Giroud in terms of output. Even if it doesn't happen this season, I think longer term, this guy here, he's just going to be worth it, isn't he? He looks so, so good. Don't love his dribbling. We'll get him working on that. Train his ball control. Yeah, you know what? I'm happy with this deal. Still fiddling around with the starting 11. With this setup here, Mason Mount ends up on the bench. I still don't really feel like selling him. I'm still, and I have no idea why, I'm still contemplating the idea that I sell Raheem Sterling this summer, which might seem mental, but with the money he's on in his current valuation, he did play very well for us. But still, I don't know, I could be an idiot. I'm just not sure he should be kept around on his current wages. Okay, we've had a bid for Chukwuemeka. I wanted more than what I've had bid for him here. I mean, his valuation was rather steep. I've been offered £10 million from a Saudi club. It's the issue with his wages again, isn't it? It's the fact he's on £100,000 a week as a 20-year-old just means that no one is willing to bid on him. They've offered me lots and lots of installments. Can we do a slightly better deal here? £20 million. I might be ambitious here. They're definitely going to turn this down, but you don't get unless you ask. They have at least counter-negotiated. 10 million now, £10 million in 6 months' time, and if you sell him on for a profit, I'd like 20%. They've accepted that. I'm happy with that. I get £10 million more in January, £20 million total. That's actually way better than the deal I thought I was going to be able to negotiate there. Giroud has officially retired. Just, hang your head a little bit, show a moment of respect. RIP to a legend. He's got 20 determination, model professional. As far as coaches go, though, he is a bit crap. So no sentimental value here, not signing him. If you were wondering, by the way, France did actually win the European Football Championship. They beat Italy in the final. Did Giroud score in the final? Did he play in the final? My nan picked up man of the match, not my literal nan. The goalkeeper, my nan. Did Giroud feature? He started the game, he got a 6.5. He played the entire game. He was the worst player on the pitch. Don't let your dreams be dreams, kids. I know I'll be asked about the rest of the competition. Here is a tree of how the knockouts played out. Sorry to Denmark and Sweden. The dream final between Scandi nations, it nearly happened. Barcelona have made a bid for Kai Havertz. They've offered me £41 million. 41 million for Kai Havertz. He didn't play that amazing for us last year. I kind of wish I could get a tiny bit more. If I go back and ask for 60, are they going to agree to that? It's Barcelona. They don't really have £60 million laying around, but we can try. They've counterbid 45. How about 45 now, and in 6 months I want another 25 million. They've locked in 49. £49 million for Havertz. I'm just looking at the players that can do what he can do. We've got Guller, we've got Fernandes, we've got Mudryk. Obviously, Callum Hudson-Odoi is hopefully on his way out. Kai is very, very good. 4 years left on his current deal. He's valued higher than what they've bid. I might live to regret this. I'm going to turn down that offer. I don't really need the money. I want to sell my leftover squad players to free up space. I don't want to be selling players who are regular subs for us. He's a world-class midfielder, according to the media. When do the press ever get anything wrong? Never, except all the time. I've had the intermediary suggestion of Asensio, who is transfer listed by request for 52 million smackaroonies. No wonder no one wants him. Who's paying that for him? Also, those wages. No. Somewhat relieved about this one. Hudson-Odoi confirmed to be going to Everton, £22.5 million. Not the craziest fee, but for a player who's going to be nowhere near our first team, if I wasn't able to sell him, we'll take what we can get. It's just dawned on me, I've got £600,000 excess wages. I could jiggle so much of it across and just give myself even more money to spend. I've got 90 million to make a big splash of a signing, and I don't know where I would do it. I mean, maybe a goalkeeper. A goalkeeper probably is the most sensible addition at this point, isn't it? Tell you what, goalkeepers are not cheap, at least the good ones. I say the good ones. The ones that have the high value. Whether or not value dictates quality, that is a whole other question, isn't it? Philip Jorgensen is available. He is very, very good playing for Villarreal. They want 32 to 49 million pounds. How big of an upgrade is he on Bazunu? I mean, Bazunu is the benchmark. He is like Bazunu's bigger brother. They're the same age as well. I do like the look of Jorgensen. Only minor issue, could be injury prone. Don't love that. Diogo Costa's another player who's popped up on the list. He's a very good goalkeeper as well. If we just compare him with Jorgensen, you can see the difference here. Very similar valuations. The issue of all these goalkeepers, more so Costa, is not very exciting. Somewhat known quantities in Football Manager. I like having a wild card in goal. I like the excitement it brings. I had Nicholas Heidel last year in Football Manager. He was a really, really good goalkeeper. He plays in Austria. Really good price for him as well. I think we'll get a scout report on him. You know what? If in doubt, just scout the top 50 players in these results here. Just scout every goalkeeper. I'll let the scouts go out and look at all the under-23 goalkeepers. Let me know who's good. Now, you might remember we gave Luton some money last season. We also gave Wigan some money last year. They've got £31 million in their bank balance. They've made one signing worth £1 million so far. I mean, come on, Wigan. I've given you loads of money. Please get promoted with it. If you don't sign anyone, I'm going to be livid. Oh, I'm tempted. I shouldn't be tempted. Tomori's just popped up. Tomori, of course, came through Chelsea's academy. Went to AC Milan for £24 million. He's very, very good in Football Manager terms. I don't know if I need a centre-back, but it's just quite a fun signing. He's actually surprisingly similar to Joe Gomez. In fact, Gomez is probably a little bit better, although there's not a world of difference between them. I feel like for the price, you're actually getting a really good value for money centre-back. I mean, Gomez has got some interest from Man City. Do I sell Joe Gomez and bring in Tomori, or do I maybe even look to sell on Fofana? Would I be mental to sell on Fofana? Given his injury history, I'm just concerned about it, especially with the current wages he's on. Should we ask his agent? We're just curious, Mr. Agent. Apparently there's no interest. He might not like this. I say he might not like this. He's very interested in talking to the clubs. I'm just going to offer him out for an unspecified amount. I'm just going to see if I can hook a Man City on the end of a fishing line. No offers for two players. No one wants to pay for Fofana. No one wants to pay for Cassidy either. I mean, Cassiday's got 4 years left on his current deal. Fofana has got 5. we'll loan them both out then. All that stuff I said about wanting to sell you to, it was all a joke. It was a prank, bro. We just wanted to loan you out. It was lost in translation. Barcelona have made a bid for Wesley Fofana. They've bid £30 million. They bid 30 million. 30. He's valued at 54 to 73. He is a phenomenal centre-back. I'm just so worried about his injury proneness, and given the fact we didn't rely on him last year, I do just wonder if I could sell him on. At the price that Barcelona are offering, could even bring in Tomori for it, though. So that does make it somewhat less appealing. I'm going to ask for 60. They've bid 33. I'm going to ask for 60 again. They've bid 37. I'm going to ask for 60 again. They've walked away. Don't think we're going to be selling him. I promised I'd sell him for 110 million. Don't think we need to worry about keeping that one. Elsewhere, Broja's leaving the club, £18 million. He's been sat in the reserves. A good player in real life, though, I feel like could go on to have a good career, maybe not at Chelsea. Football Manager, though, he's just not good enough for us. So £18 million we'll take. We have had some loan offers here for Cassidy. Does anyone want to play him as a first-team player? There's loads of teams offering him a squad player role. I feel like he's good enough that for a championship team, he'd force his way into the starting 11. Ipswich helped me out last year with Amari Hutchinson's loan. I'm going to give him to Ipswich Town. Ipswich are the team for you, Cassidy. Go find yourself in Suffolk. And elsewhere, Ipswich want to loan Datro Fofana as well. You know what? It should be a motto here at Chelsea Football Club. Go find yourself in Suffolk. I'm just going to send all my players on loan to Ipswich to find themselves. I am being asked if I want to follow up in my interest for Tomori. You know, if Fofana had had that bid on him and it had been more reasonable, I would be very tempted by this. For right now, I'm going to put on the sensible hat and say no. Although, if I could sell Benoit Badiashile, I could then afford Tomori. Is anyone interested? Do any intermediaries think that anyone could make a bid? Oh, the intermediaries think there's a chance, although for the kind of deals they're offering, I'm not sure it'd even be worth selling him. That said, he did play 11 games for us last year and get a 6.73 rating. I'll offer him out via the transfer room. Transfer list, unspecified. If I get a bid for Badiashile, I go in for Tomori. Maybe I get the wheels moving on a Tomori deal now, just in case someone else decides to come in. And also, we should probably make sure that AC Milan have a reasonable expectation for the price. They might not have a reasonable expectation for the price. I'll be honest, AC, don't really want to go above 50 million. You are testing me here. 55 million. No, don't like that. 58. I am considering giving Tomori £58 million to be my backup centre-back. I mean, he doesn't personally get that money. Milan do. It would be great to bring another Chelsea kid home, though, wouldn't it? I feel like about 10% of the transfer business that I do is kind of dictated by sensibleness. The other 90% is just vibes and narrative. But narrative is good. We need narrative here at Chelsea Football Club. I don't want to alarm anyone. If all the loan deals that I'm currently negotiating with players happen, and the squad was to remain as it is, I have a first team of 25 players. Oh my God, we've actually done it. We've solved our team. And we are also massively into a transfer special where I have spent £95 million, to be fair. I've made one signing. My bid for Tomori has been accepted at 58 million. He wants to be a star player. He wants to win the Champions League in 3 years. Mate, you need to just calm down a little bit. He doesn't want to calm down. Okay, he's accepted the idea of being a star player. His wage demands aren't actually as outrageous as I was expecting, which is a pleasant surprise. Can we lower these slightly? 130k? 135? 135,000. Am I really about to sign Tomori? Have had some more bids for Andre Santos here. Hull City Championship club offering him regular first-team football. Apparently there's loads of interest in Badiashile, but only for a loan. He's got a 6-year contract, so if I was to loan him out for the year, there is a reasonable chance that we could get him some good first-team football, putting him in a shop window, and either he comes back to us with loads of first-team football and is better, or we can sell him on for more money next year. You know what? I'm going to loan him out. Let's just hope someone can pay us £120,000 a week wages. Chukwuemeka has turned down the move to Saudi Arabia. I was about to get £20 million from him. I was already cashing in the money. I was already counting it. And he turned it down. That is a concern. Juventus have made a loan offer for Badiashile. They are willing to pay a lot of money, which I like, and they will make him an important first-team player. If I sign Tomori, loaning out Badiashile kind of makes sense. And actually, I think could be a good, sensible deal because his value is low now. But if he develops, if he plays regular first-team football for a team like Juventus, I feel like that value is going to go up. Also, remember all those goalkeepers I scouted? Yeah, getting all those scout reports right now. All the goalkeepers I've looked at, Lucas Perry here is the pick of the bunch. He hates important matches. But he's only on £1,000 a week in Brazil. Like, he is on minimum wage playing for Botafogo. How good is he compared to Bazunu? I mean, he is way better than Bazunu as well. Am I going to sign Lucas Perry? We have got some Brazilian vibes going in this team, haven't we? You know what? What does his agent think? His agent thinks he'll want to join. He'll want a wage between £125,000 and £155,000 a week. The bloke is currently on £1,000 a week. Is he taking the mick? I've noticed in his contract he's got a minimum release clause to domestic clubs of less than £6 million. So instead of bidding what they want, I'm just going to bid £6 million. Yeah, Botafogo didn't like that. Okay, I've had a bid of £16 million accepted. Is he actually a good goalkeeper, or are my scouts just lying to me? I mean, he's been tearing it up in Brazil, for what it's worth. He did apparently at one point have a loan spell at Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace fans, did you remember that loan spell? Didn't play a game for you. I'm going on Google and researching this guy. Is he actually good? You know what? He's got 370,000 followers on Instagram. That's good enough for me. We're going to sign him. Remember earlier I said you can go out there and sign a Diogo Costa, a known quality of a goalkeeper, or you can go for the fun wild cards and have some vibes. That's what I want in my goalkeeper. I want vibes. 5-year deal agreed, £140,000 a week. We are signing a new starting goalkeeper for £16 million. Am I concerned he hates important matches? Slightly, but it's not like we're getting to cup finals, is it? Let's be real. Reality check, everyone. We're not that good yet. I mean, compared to Dean Henderson, he's better. That's all I'm saying. Apparently, Manchester United and Tottenham also want him. You know, it's not even a meme signing at this point. I think he's genuinely good. Andre Santos is on his way out the door to go to Hull. Good loan spell for him. We need him to go somewhere and get regular minutes. I think the Championship, as he proved with Blackburn, is probably around the level he should be at. Regular first-team football will help his development. Elsewhere, Tomori set to sign for us. I'm going to hit delay on this for now because we're still waiting on the Badia Chile loan. Speaking of which, he turned down the move to Juventus. He is now talking to Sevilla. I think that would be a severely good signing for them. Severely good. I hate myself. Looking through this list of players with contracts expiring in the next year, there is a couple of players here who I probably should be trying to sell. One player who I don't think I'm going to be able to sell is Bama Rahman. No one wants him. Can we just mutually agree to terminate this contract? I'll pay you £350,000 to piss off. That sounds good. I'll be honest, I forgot he was here. No offers for Chukwuemeka. This is going to be a problem. I mean, good news. He's agreed that he will try and get a move done. I mean, why he couldn't just take the Saudi bag, I don't know. I think we're going to struggle to get a bid anywhere near what I was hoping to for him. But at this point, I just don't want to be paying him £100,000 a week. West Ham have made a bid, £10 million, 20% of any profit. I'm going to accept that and hope he makes that move happen. Elsewhere, Bayern Munich have made a bid for Mount. They've offered me £41 million up front, another £41 million, and then a few more bits and bobs. It could amount to nearly £90 million. He doesn't want to talk to them. I don't feel like I really need to sell him either. It's not like I need the money for Mason Mount. I feel like in Football Manager, this guy is so good. He played incredibly for us last year. I know Chelsea fans in real life don't hold him near and dear. I'm attached to the bloke, and I'm not afraid to admit it. In Football Manager, just to be clear. Datro Fofana is on loan to Ipswich. We'll get some match reports on him. We'll keep a close eye on his development there. And elsewhere, using the power of intermediaries, West Ham have come in for another one of our players, Maatsen. Reading down his contract, was going to leave on a free. Get £5.75 million. The intermediary will take a small cut of that. But £5.5 million for a player we'd lose for nothing otherwise. That sounds good to me. And in some even more exciting news, Lucas Perry, we are waiting on a work permit for thee. This guy, he actually looked really good as a goalkeeper. I don't even feel like I'm memeing at this point. He is genuinely quality. Mason Mount, top performer in training. Give him some praise. Dean Henderson, worst performer in training. Disappointed. do better. Cassidy has also joined Ipswich Town on loan. Really good loan for him. I'm hoping he will get some regular first-team football. Ipswich Town now have two of my better young players on there at Bucks. I'm hoping that Cassidy and Fofana are going to tear it up for them. It does mean now that when we look at our under-21 squad, we've managed to get out on loan a lot of the players I wanted to get rid of, the overpaid players. Of the players still here, Chukwuemeka and Matson are on their way out. Bergstrom probably should get a loan deal for. He doesn't even have a work permit at the moment. Premier League top goal scorer odds. None of our players feature in this list. I wonder where Giroud would be. You know the whole I found the new Giroud thing? He's injured for 3 to 5 weeks. He's going to miss the start of the season. Evan Ferguson, go see a specialist, lad. Tottenham are in for him, Manchester United were in for him, but Lucas Perry is a Chelsea player for £16 million. He will be our new starting goalkeeper. We're all about the vibes. And to be honest, compared to Bazunu, he's just better than Bazunu. He's actually a massive upgrade in goal. Never heard of him in real life. We're going to see what magic he can produce for us. Premier League top player odds have just come in. None of these players are ours. Again. Unfortunate. Best young players in the Premier League, though. Now we're cooking. Ansu Fati in the list. Colwill as well. Pretty good company on this list. Benjamin Sesko, Telles Magno, Harvey Elliott. There's good players here, but Fati predicted to be the best. And can you blame anyone? What a bargain he was for £90 million. 90 million. I've signed a goalkeeper. I've signed a striker. Is there anywhere else I needed to strengthen? I'm sure some of you are screaming different positions at your monitors. Right now, the only thing we're waiting on is the confirmation of Tomori. Speaking of which, I can now confirm it because, as you can see here, Badiashile is going to be on his way to Sevilla. We will compile match reports. I'm going to set him a loan target. If you can prove yourself, I'll make you a starter. If you get a 7.5 rating for Sevilla at centre-back, I'll make you a starter. Apparently, that's too ambitious. 7.3. 7.3. If he gets a 7.3 at Sevilla, I am screwed because I can't make him a regular starter, but we'll cross that bridge if we ever get to that bridge. And what it does mean is I can confirm the signing of Tomori. I've got Joe Gomez, Tomori, Wesley Fofana, Levi Colwill. Oh my, what a centre-back setup. He follows in the footsteps of Tammy Abraham, departed for Serie A, returns to his academy club in Chelsea. Mason Mount, welcome your friend back. Badiashile, just for my own sake of mine, go to the under-21s, get out my sight. We have signed Evan Ferguson, Lucas Perry, Tomori. There is still, by the way, £24 million in the bank, but what I will endeavour to spend that on, well, you're not going to find out now. You'll have to tune in tomorrow for the start of the season where I'll reveal if I've actually managed to sign anyone. I think at this point it is just going to be hoarding hot prospects. I think the biggest achievement today has been the number of players we've been able to get rid of. There was a few younger players that maybe I would have liked to have sold permanently, but ultimately putting them in the shop window, they've got longer contracts. We can try and sell them next summer. The cycle can repeat. The squad, I feel like, is in a way better shape now. It's got some really good depth. There is room now for players like Victor Roque and Guller, I think, to come in and actually play some more regular minutes that I couldn't give them last year. And on the whole, I feel remarkably prepared for the Champions League. Of course, as always, we will be back tomorrow to kick off season number 2. Our opening games of the year, Nottingham Forest, Brentford, Wolves. I think we'll do a triple header next time, so I'll see you guys for them. We'll see if our plan, when it comes to our starting 11, is genius or a spectacular disaster. I hope it's not the latter. As always, these transfer specials do take a long time to record, so if you appreciate the effort, if you've enjoyed the episode, drop a like on the video, helps it out massively in the algorithm. And besides that, it's me, Jack. I'll see you again tomorrow for more. I'm out.